comes to the supernatural, or paranormal, one does not have to believe in it to have it come up out of the darkness and into the light, showing its ugly face. These are the times when it did just that. The year was 1978. I was a sophomore in high school, and I just happened to be in my literature class, which being taught by my favorite teacher, Mrs. Maxine Hughes. We were all about to start class when it was interrupted by one of the fellow students. The student held a book in his hands entitled The Amityville Horror and asked Mrs. Hughes had she heard of or read it. Totally caught off guard by the student, she quietly responded back to him, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I am familiar with the story from which the book was written about, but I haven't read it." But before you go any further, please smash the hell out of the like button and click on the little bell icon so that you can stay in the loop and be notified each and every time I drop a brand new video. At the turn of the century, while living in the Saxton house located in Russellville, Kentucky, a young caretaker's daughter would find herself totally enraged because her parents refused to allow her to go to a local dance with her date, primarily because of the bad storm that was taking place at the time. Visibly upset with her parents for their decision, after having finished up her bag and gotten dressed for the occasion, the young girl allegedly cursed God, blamed him for the incident and the bad weather. It was at that time that God would choose to show how mighty and powerful he truly is, striking the girl dead with a vicious bolt of lightning and etching her burned, distorted remains in the mirror located in the bathroom. Soon after the girl's death, several of the local citizens of Russellville would start rumors of having seen the girl's shadow standing in the window, staring at the mirror at the bathroom on stormy nights. As time went on, the stories about the girl's sightings would become local legend. Even to this day, the stories are still told at family gatherings, workplaces, and etc. amongst friends and family. Fast forward back to 1978, Mrs. Hughes' literature class to be exact. After answering the student's question of whether she was familiar with the Amityville horror story, the student then asked Mrs. Hughes if she had experienced anything personally involving herself and the paranormal, and whether or not she even believed in such a thing. Taking in a deep breath of air and calmly letting it back out, Mrs. Hughes then asked us students if we could close their books for a few minutes while she told the story of something that occurred on one stormy night with herself and three of her closest friends when they were all juniors in high school. Bored out of their wits and having nothing to do, the four of them had all decided that they wanted to do something to spice up the mood, so they all decided to take a road trip from Sister City, Kentucky to Russellville and check out a supposed haunted house in which one of her friends had told them all about. So the girls all piled up in the car belonging to one of the friends and headed up the highway 431 towards Russellville, Kentucky, which was roughly around a 35 to 40 minute drive from Sister City, Kentucky, depending on how fast you were traveling. Having safely arrived in the city, what started out as only a few drops of rain on the windshield quickly turned into an all-out thunderstorm with strikes of lightning so bright they had to have lit up the entire town. This prompted the driver to pull over to the first gas station or convenience store to get directions to the house, seeing that the weather had become too severe for the girls to find it on their own. After about a 5-minute drive in torrential weather, the girls would finally arrive at the infamous Saxton house. What happened next is absolutely terrifying. According to Mrs. Hughes, they nervously sat there for about 5 minutes as the storm lessened, with nothing happening. Then, out of nowhere, a loud, thunderous bolt of lightning struck into the house, illuminating the entire area. Standing in a part of the house that looked to be the bathroom, for all of them to see, was what appeared to be a young girl staring in the direction of what seemed to be the mirror, appearing to be arguing with someone or something. With the storm nearly coming to a halt, one last bolt of lightning would strike, lighting up the entire area like a New York City Christmas tree. And staring back at the girls from the window was the infamous ghost herself. All 4 of the girls noticed it at the same time, and in unison they all let out a frightful scream as the driver, with a couple of failed attempts, was finally able to start the car and flee the scene as fast as she could, leaving a cloud of burnt rubber smoke in her rearview mirror. It would be nearly a week while sitting together at the lunchroom table that they would muster enough courage to even speak about what happened to them on that terrifying night at the infamous Saxton house, vowing to one another never again to ever set foot back on its compounds. That's all for now. Please stay in tune for more terrifying stories from the hood. I am Sir Creepsta, and as always, stay terrified. Ha 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 ha!